We are joined by...
That's Lyle Pollard.
That's Michael Watkins.
So we've introduced ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're just
So continuing on.
Absolutely. Okay. Talk about what y'all do.
So I was an abused child who sits around and draws guys in spandex because no one loved me and I was picked on a lot.
I just do random Hank Hill impersonations until I understand that people sell propane and propane accessories. I'll tell you what.
That's a pretty good impersonation, though.
It wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
So actually, I am the owner of Highburn Studios. I'm an indie publisher as well as a comic book creator. I publish Lyle's book, Tribulations. I also publish a book called No More by this guy over here, Mez Phillips. And then I have this small guy named Jim Shooter. Perhaps you've heard of him. I think he does a little bit in comics. He's writing a book that I created called Guardians.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's actually what we do. But we're gonna talk about Lyle's book.
Yeah, well, it's a self-help cookbook about what to do when your wife dies. No, that's not it. That's the next book. That's the next book.
You know, that's harsh considering I do have one dead wife.
Yeah, I know.
That's why I've told my new wife, you can't die from weird circumstances because 2 in a row, not going to go well.
No.
That's true, though. I mean, there's no joke here.
No.
It's true. I mean, and honestly, I'm tired of loaning him shovels. So, too soon?
It was just the one. A whole bunch of times.
Multiple shovels.
It was just one shovel a bunch of times.
The rest were at wives. So my book Tribulations is it's about a single dad superhero. So he's, you know, he basically is the premier superhero, and he has to deal with now balancing being a hero with being a dad. And I don't think there's a lot of comics that really tackle that, where they don't immediately axe out the kid or rewrite history or have some kind of weird kerfluffle with a Imcron crystal or whatever that erases time, history, or deals with the devil or whatever.
I like to tell people when they ask about his book, it's if Peter Parker was Superman and a single dad.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I think that hits all of the emotional content that people kind of look for in a way. Because, you know, you're familiar with a guy like Peter. Like, you know, when you're reading about Stanley, he's your everyday guy. And, you know, I mean, this is something that can happen to anyone.
Asterisk, Stanley is Monument's secret identity.
Oh, we're learning the secret.
Oh no, spoilers. But anyway, yeah, he's a super relatable character. And honestly, when Lyle brought me that book years ago, this is before my first wife actually passed away, I read it. And I went, you know, this is a really heartfelt story. When I actually experienced that myself, it's a really good book to help people actually deal with that too, because you're going to see the process. And it's great that he's not hiding that emotion.
Yeah, it's also like, it's nice to have that representation as a superhero. Yeah.
And we've got everybody else. We don't have the widower superhero who actually has to carry all. I mean, it's like, oh, Gwen Stacy's dead. Well, gosh, hope somebody else knocks on the door. Oh, hey, MJ. Yeah, he's married. You know, it's like it kind of went that way. And it feels like for those of us who didn't, you know, who weren't around in the 60s, it's like you're reading back, wow, he lost a girlfriend, dating again. I'm like, and that's one thing I've kind of wanted to stick to with this book is he's not going to just start dating again.
Yeah.
I mean, he has a piece of her left in the form of this child. So his goal is to look after this piece of her that's left. And he's going to have to adjust to it. It's, you know, and it's as someone who, when I wrote this book, when I'd written it, I was just married. And then when it came out, I'd had a kid. So as it's gone on, and now my children are literally 15, going to be 16, God, I'm old, and 12, then it's kind of like watching them grow up and have all these things happen. It's like, man, I've got about 48 more issues to go before I even get to this point. So, yeah. So lots of world building in my head.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how does, like, you know, having children like then translate to this book? Does it influence it? Oh, I assume it influences it a lot.
It does. Well, there's one thing that, like, I've always, and this is one of these things that once I had a child, it bugged me to death. It's like, oh, I've got a kid, cool. I'm just gonna put him back and fly him. Okay, that child's gonna freeze to death. You know, it's like whenever, like, okay, I hate to reference this movie, but like at the beginning of The Flash, when all the babies are falling out of the air, and he's just like running at super speed. I'm like, okay, these babies are liquefied right now. So there's literally a scene in one issue that he's got to find someone to look after the kids. So when he goes over there and the other hero comes over, they have to hop in the car that he doesn't hardly drive anymore because he flies everywhere to put it in the car. So like, and his friend's like, why are we taking a car? Because my back doesn't have a car seat and neither does yours. So he's literally having to get in their civilian clothes, drive the car over to his parents' house, leave it there, and then go do superhero stuff. So little steps that you take that, when you're not a parent, you don't think about it.
Yeah, you don't think about it.
A kid's got to be in a car seat till they can drive the daggone car now. It's ridiculous. So.
And I think what's really great about that is, so we're going to talk about a manual transmission for a minute. Now, for you people who don't know, back in the day, they used to put a gear shift in the middle of your car, and you had to push 3 pedals.
Mm-hmm.
So you had a clutch, the brake, and the gas. And I'm just thinking about, so say you haven't driven a stick in a long time.
Yeah, I was about to say, I never learned stick.
And you're the superhero who's flown around. Imagine trying to shift gears in your car with superpowers, and it's something you haven't done in a while. I'm just waiting for the clutch to come right out.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're just ripping it out by accident.
It is, yeah. And as someone who just recently got my car back on there, this stick shift, it was an adjustment period of like, man, this is, and then you're like, the next thing you know, it's like, just like talking, you're like, oh wow, I'm just shifting gears without even doing it. And then you get back to the point where you're reaching for the phantom stick shift that's not there in your automatic, and like, what am I doing? It's like kids are like, Daddy, why do you always like keep your hand right here all the time? I said, because if I don't, I will go insane.
You gotta ground yourself.
He's been trained. He's conditioned.
Yeah.
I am.
Like he's Pavlov's driver.
I am. Pavlov's driver. Every time somebody dumps a clutch, I salivate. It's just weird.
So, since we have questions, I'm gonna look through these real quick. Ignore us while I'm looking.
I was gonna say I could also just ask you one.
Ask us all the questions.
What is something that you wish more people knew about making comics?
That it's hard.
Yeah, I mean,
There are so many people who are like, "Hey man, I'm gonna go do comics." That's cute.
Mm-hmm. That's why when we think about it, we could have just done it.
It's not an easy road.
It's not.
And there are tons of people who are like tomorrow we're doing a panel on bringing your IP to us, and I'm going to talk about parts of that, like just the IP law itself.
oh my God,
To create your own comic, and if you're going to do it yourself, you have to be a lawyer, you have to be a salesman, you have to be a marketing director, you have to be an artist, a writer, an editor, a letterer, a color artist. You have to hope that someone other than your parents likes what you're doing and will buy it.
Which is tough.
Yeah, which is hard.
Yeah.
Oh, you also get to be a web designer and your own entire social media marketing manager. So there's all these hats, and people don't realize how involved and engrossing this is. I mean, it's going to consume your life.
Yeah.
So my joke about having no friends, I mean, I do have them, but yeah, there's times that, especially if you're young, there's times that your friends are going to want you to go out. You're going to be like, well, I really need to do this page.
Yeah.
Do the page.
And the one thing I would tell people who don't do comics, who don't understand, is I want to do my comic. Cool. Draw me one page of someone going to the store. What? One page of someone going to the store. I want you to do that in one page. I need them to be from their home to the store in one page.
Oh, in one page,
In one page, and make it make sense. Okay, here they are, and then here they are. Store. Wow. So they teleported from the house to the store. Okay, did anything happen? Did they see a dog? And then they start saying that you need to know this. Okay, why is your person sitting on? Are they in England? No. Then why are you having them drive a car on the right hand side? Oh wow! And all so little things like, oh, which way does the shirt button on a man versus a woman? This is how these little things that people don't think about when you start drawing, you can't unthink it. And it's
And one of the things that you'll notice when you see that in art, you may not recognize immediately what's wrong, but you know something's wrong.
something's wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just like, one of my favorite challenges to an artist is show me a person sitting in a coffee shop drinking a cup of coffee and make it interesting.
Yeah.
Or my favorite page setup is show me a person who had a rough night's sleep and the alarm just went off in the morning and they're tired. A good artist can do that in one page.
Yep.
Yeah.
A bad artist will do it in 9 panels.
Oh, yeah. I was about to ask you all: is it typically that people take too short or too long of a
It,
time?
it depends.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Good. Good.
Yeah.
Good. That's interesting.
It is.
Wonderful. That's just interesting. I do a lot of like sketch comedy, so a lot of times people are too long. That's all I wanted to ask.
You do sketch comedy?
I do sketch.
I do as well. I sit down, I sketch, and I laugh at how
And you
bad
laugh
it
at
is.
it. Oh,
It's like, oh, it's all-
Yeah.
You do stand up, I do sit down. It's different.
Exactly.
Wonderful. Honestly, I'm looking at our time. What all do you have coming up? Sorry, my brain just turned off.
So let's see. Hold on, turn that back on. There you go.
Yes, thank you.
You need coffee.
I sure do.
Next for me is Free Comic Book Day at Borderlands Comics and Games in Greenville, South
I was about to say
Carolina.
that's in South Carolina.
Yes. You were going to be at.
I'm going to be at Dragon's Lair right here in the big city of Fayetteville next Saturday on May the 4th. So, yeah,
Wonderful.
May it be with you.
it may be.
Maybe with me.
And then,
And with you.
and if it's a rough day, then Revenge of the 5th will be coming.
And then after that, we'll all be at Heroes Con.
Yep.
So, everybody comes to Heroes Con.
Yes.
Then project wise, so Tribulations issue 1 is out now. So it's no more issue 1. Issue 2 for Tribulations is shipping. It should be home when I get home.
Yeah.
And it's the continuation of, Monument realizing that he's going to become a single dad.
Yeah.
He has issue 3 written. Issue 4 is in production. So
Yeah.
Lyle is a machine. Tribulations 2 is in production. And then Guardians, Jim has given me the majority of the script, and I'm going to start writing it. I will say that the next issue of Nomura has colors by on the cover by this guy named Rico Renzi. And then issue 4 of Tribulations will be colored by Rico Renzi.
Yes.
So
And as someone whose daughter happens to be named Gwen after Gwen, and then huge Spider-Gwen fan, she freaked out when I told her yesterday in the carpool line while picking her brother from school. So she's very happy about that.
so it's awesome, but we're having a great time. I mean, I've been doing comics professionally for 24 years. You've been doing comics for
20 years, because that was literally the summer after I got married and did my first Heroes Con within 2 weeks. And me and Mike, we weren't sure if we'd be friends, but then we pulled knives on each other, and it's been close ever since.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He came to my hotel room with a knife at my crotch, and I had one at his
He said this, and I looked down. He's like, he pulled a knife on me. She's like, you pulled out a knife on him. I'm like,
We're friends now.
that's how it works.
Yeah.
It's okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
anything else for us?
Statute of
before-
limitations over there for that. I think.
No, yeah, you're so fine. Where can people find you on
Um,
the internet?
on the internet. Well, let's see. I have all of the social medias, I think, except for X because
Yep.
it's just annoying.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dumpster fires are fun.
Yeah.
So all the social medias. Then you can find both of us on Highburn, HIGHBURN.com. And let's see. Yeah, that's usually where you can find us.
And you can find me on Instagram, which is the only one I really propagate, because that's where I can post the most amount of artwork, the least amount of garbage.
Sure.
Maybe.
That
Maybe
sounds
sometimes.
great. Yes, I think that's true.
Yeah.
I'm good to go with that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks to both of you so much
Well, thank you for having
joining
me.
us. Oh, of course. And we'll be right back here in a moment.
After these messages.